Welcome back to Pop Goes the Kernel, where we dive into today's latest pop culture, music, television, movies, and more.
I'm Bella Lindsey.
I'm Marissa Armstrong.
I'm Gabby Mercedes.
And I'm Gracy and Frank.
Today's episode is a full breakdown on all the 2026 Grammy nominations.
Let's get popping.
The opinions expressed on this podcast are the speaker's own and don't uphold the opinions expressed by the Kentucky Kernel. Today, we're going to talk all things Grammys. Now, the Grammys are set to appear on Sunday, February 1st, 2026, but the nominations have been announced.
I want to talk a little bit about kind of how Grammy nominations work for those of you guys who don't really know what happens, how artists get nominated, how their tracks get nominated for these very prestigious awards, the biggest awards in music today. So they go through a whole process. It starts with the submission. So the record label or the artist will submit their music, their tracks, albums, anything for the categories in that submission period. Then they'll go through a screening where essentially the Recording Academy will decide if their stuff is eligible, if it was released in certain dates, whatever it may be. And then comes the voting. So there's two different phases of the voting process. We currently just got out of phase 1 of voting, which is where the Recording Academy votes on the eligible music for nominations. And then all these nominations get put into a big list, and that has just been sent out to us today, and we're going to break them down and talk all about them. But then our phase 2 of voting, which we will not hear about until the actual Grammys date, is where the Recording Academy members vote for the actual winners of the Grammys. So we have those different phases. It's a whole process that the artists kind of go through. And I mentioned before the Recording Academy. This may sound like a little scary name, I don't really know, but these are the members who are voting. And essentially what the Recording Academy is they're music professionals, people like performers, songwriters, producers, engineers, managers, and executives that all have some sort of expertise in music, and they get to vote on the categories. So rather than this being an award show of the general public getting to vote and choose their favorites, this is really down to technique and expertise of songs. So that's what makes this award definitely a lot more prestigious than some other awards we may see. There are nearly 15,000 voting members, and people keep getting added every year. Some of these members include artists that are actually nominated, which I think is really interesting. But that's essentially what the Recording Academy looks like. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of just the general process of the Grammys?
Talk about a long process. That is insane. I actually didn't know there were even phases as far as voting. It would be kind of cool if it were open to the public. However, I definitely see why it's not. We are definitely not music professionals, but you know, it would have been really cool to have like a people's choice.
I had no clue that over 15,000 people voted. When I kind of like imagined voting, I kind of imagined like, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 20 people like all in a room like voting around kind of like a round table kind of thing. I never imagined 15,000 people voting.
Like that stereotypical office scene where it's like all in favor say aye and you raise your hand.
That's exactly
That's
what I
was
imagined.
thinking too. So that's interesting. Oh my gosh.
It makes me think like how unanimous some of the voting processes are and how divided they may be sometimes. Like, what would it look like to be in the Recording Academy getting to take a vote on some of our own favorite artists?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that artists who can be nominated are members of the Recording Academy because, you know, I mean, everyone's human. Maybe we have some beef with someone that we don't like. Maybe you don't want to vote for their song or their album. I just think that's kind of interesting.
Do you think those artists are allowed to vote for their own stuff, or do you think they're taken out?
These are questions I want to know the answers to. These are questions I want to know the answers to.
I would be shocked if they were in on the voting. I could only imagine some of the artists absolutely going wild because people won't vote for theirs. So, you know, maybe it's for the best.
Right. Well, today we're going to get to pretend to be members of the Recording Academy, doing our phase 2 of voting and picking who we want to see as our Grammy winners.
Starting off strong with one of the big 4 categories, we have Record of the Year, and this is awarded to the artist and to the producers, recording engineers, or mixers and mastering engineers of a song. So the nominees for the 2026 season are DTMF by Bad Bunny, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, Anxiety by Doechii, Wildflower by Billie Eilish and Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Luther by Kendrick Lamar with SZA, The Subway by Chappell Roan, and A Pata by Rosé and Bruno Mars.
All right. So I guess I'll start us off in my thoughts here. Personally, if I'm placing my vote for this category, I think I want to go Apata, which might be kind of controversial, I know. But thinking about what this category is, it's record of the year. You're thinking about the production value. And I think that song has really strong production. I do love the song, and I think it's kind of a bop, but I do think it has really strong production, and I think that's something Bruno Mars thrives in, is the production value of his songs. So that's where I'm casting my vote.
I honestly I could not agree more. That would be my vote 100%. I personally love the song Apata, and Bruno Mars is just a legend to me, but the way they incorporated the beat and everything with it, it's just one of those songs that plays in my mind on repeat and I don't even think about it. I just feel like the way it was put together, it's honestly very unique from what you're used to because it has almost like a K-pop twist to it, but it's also Bruno Mars. It just gets stuck in my head all the time. It definitely has my vote, personally.
Now, I agree with you guys as well, but if I were going to go maybe a little bit against the grain here, I'm going to say either Manchild or Subway by Chappell Roan or Sabrina Carpenter. I really, really, really love those songs. Now, again, when I think about when you guys are saying the sound production, I think the Subway is stronger in that sense. And I think Manchild, I think I'm a little bit biased with my love for Sabrina Carpenter, but I can tell you one song I don't want to win, Anxiety.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Manchild does have those whips, so I do like that for production. I didn't think about that.
I do like that. Going off of Anxiety, though, I just don't like that it has the same beat as somebody that I used to know.
Right.
Personally, I don't want to say it's tasteless, because it really isn't. It's a good song. It just doesn't have as much originality as I was hoping for. I think the song itself and the lyricism is phenomenal. I think it really embodies what anxiety feels like inside for a lot of people. But as far as the beat goes in the production, I mean, I kid you not, it's almost the exact same, just with some extra added in voices here and there, beats the same, on the same key. So it doesn't really wow me, because if I really wanted to hear this song, I could listen to somebody that I used to know.
Right. I feel like the fact that there's an interpolation nominated is really interesting. I feel like if I were to cast my vote, I agree with you. I'm very biased. I love my girl Sabrina Carpenter, and I think this song is very sonically unique and just it scratches an itch in my brain. I love it. But I would also argue that Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA is deserving. I feel like when I think of production, I go R&B almost immediately, because I feel like that's a very essential part of R&B. So I would love to see that one as well. Another one of the big four categories, arguably the biggest category, Album of the Year. First, we have Debí tirar más fotos by Bad Bunny, Swag by Justin Bieber, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter, Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clipsey, Pusha T, and Malice, Mayhem by Lady Gaga, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, Mutt by Leon Thomas, and Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator.
Now, let me really lock in on this one for you all. So, I've listened to multiple of these albums. Honestly, I love Tyler, the Creator's Chromacopia. I've listened to that whole album, and I've listened to it several times. I just really like it. Also, Sticky is always on repeat in my head. On top of that, Lady Gaga. I've talked about it on Pop before. There is nobody who can do music like Lady Gaga. And I'm someone who very much likes older artists' work, so like Lady Gaga, I think in the 2010s mainly. But I really loved this album. Abracadabra is still on my Spotify top listen, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And also her other songs on that album. I mean, of course, to me, Abracadabra stands out, but that's okay. That's okay. I love Kendrick Lamar's, just kind of the beat that goes with it, so I feel like it's going to be a top contender, which might make Drake a little mad, but that's okay. Man's Best Friend, I'm a little iffy on it. Don't get me wrong. I love Sabrina Carpenter. It's just not my favorite. I know, Gracie, just like you said, you're a little biased towards Sabrina, but I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident for her on this one. As far as the other artists go, none of them really stick out to me. I do like Bad Bunny's, though. I can't lie. It's literally the beat of his music. It's just my brain. It's something different. Something about the way he sings his songs hits different.
I think Chromacopia is going to win. I think that album is just kind of a lyrical genius, and everybody loves Tyler, the Creator. Now, who I want to win is Man's Best Friend, Sabrina Carpenter, but I just think that it's a little bit too raunchy for the Grammys, and I just don't think that that is what's going to be chosen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm on kind of the exact same wavelength as you guys are on. I think Man's Best Friend, incredible album, but just kind of taking a look at kind of what the Recording Academy has voted for in the past for Album of the Year, I don't see Man's Best Friend holding that title. And honestly, as much as I think Chromacopia deserves it out of all of these, I could also see the Recording Academy definitely snubbing Chromacopia. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to Mutt by Leon Thomas. I think Leon Thomas is upcoming, and I think that album kind of goes underrated. The Grammys really like that R&B vibe. In the past, they've given a lot of credit and awards to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it went to Mutt. But I personally would vote for Chromacopia, I believe.
I think Chromacopia is a really strong case to win Album of the Year, and I think it deserves it the most because I think Tyler is very much an artist, and this album displays his artistry very well. I would love to see Man's Best Friend win, obviously. I was listening to that album literally this morning, and I feel like every song is immaculate, and it tells a story very well. But I think I can honestly see Album of the Year going to Bad Bunny.
I could totally see that too.
Because I feel like the Grammys like to throw in like something that you wouldn't expect to win in those big categories. And I wouldn't really expect that album to win, as refreshing as it is, and I love it so much. I just don't see it deserving the win as much as other albums do, but I can see it winning, if that makes sense.
I definitely could see that win coming out. I think it'll be very interesting to see just how well he does, especially considering there's so much controversy surrounding Bad Bunny right now. Not necessarily because he did anything, but of course, him being the performer at the Super Bowl has caused a lot of butting heads on social media. So getting to see just how the Grammys just perceive his music, not the fact that he's performing at the Super Bowl, I don't know if it'll play a part in it, but for the record, I do hope that he ends up being successful at this year's Grammys.
It is interesting to note, though, too, if he wins big at the Grammys are a week, maybe 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, so that would be something interesting to keep track of.
And think vice versa, if he gets snubbed completely, what's that Super Bowl performance going to kind of look like?
February is going to be a very interesting month.
Another Big Four category is Song of the Year, which is an award given to the songwriters of a song. First up, we have Abracadabra, which is performed by Lady Gaga. We have Anxiety, performed by Doechii. Apata, performed by Rosé and Bruno Mars. Luther, performed by Kendrick Lamar with SZA. Manchild, performed by Sabrina Carpenter. And Wildflower, performed by Billie Eilish.
Now, I will be the first to say, this may come as a little bit of a shock considering I just talked about this song. I could see Anxiety taking this one home. Now, not because of necessarily the beat and all, but if you think of the lyricism with it, like I said earlier, it has a really good underlying message, and also the way the lyrics are, just something about it really sticks out to me. Going along with it, I could also see Apata being a really high up contender, just because if you think about it, it's also incorporating a game. I would have never thought about that, and I honestly didn't know that till I read the lyrics, and I just really like kind of the way it flows too, because it includes both artists. But for me, my pick personally is Anxiety.
Now, I'm going completely different. I thought those were some of the weaker songs in the category.
Really?
I think Wildflower is going to take it home. I think kind of just looking at the category in general, I kind of thought it was a weaker category, like lyricism-wise, and one that just immediately stood out to me when I read it was Wildflower. I think that's what's going to take it home.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as Wildflower. I really disagree with you about Apata, Gabby, because I don't think that song has much substance at all in terms of lyricism and songwriting. I mean, obviously there is substance, but I think there's not enough lyrics. It's repeating the same word over and over again. I mean, again, like I said earlier, I love the song, but in terms of this category, I don't see it going far. Anxiety, I could maybe see. I definitely see Anxiety winning this over Record, but I don't know. Not my cup of tea. I agree with Wildflower as a take. This category is really interesting this year. Taylor Swift wasn't up for any nominations this year just because she wasn't eligible necessarily for anything. Typically, she takes home this category just based on who she is, how her songs are. She's known for her lyricism and songwriting. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of runs home with it because we don't have that big typical winner in this category this year.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as you guys. I would agree with Wildflower being the most deserving of this award. Again, my girl Sabrina, I would love to see Man-Child take this home. I think it's a great storytelling song. Although it's not a story with much substance and very much deep emotional meaning, I still think it tells a story really well. Whereas Wildflower, I think, tells a more meaningful, deep, strong story. So I would vote for Wildflower to take this award home. Getting to know some fresh faces in the music industry, we move on to Best New Artist. The nominees for the 2026 Grammys are Olivia Dean, Cat's Eye, The Marias, Addison Rae, Somber, Leon Thomas, Alex Warren, and Lola Young.
This is always my favorite category because we get to see all these fresh faces who have blown up this past year, and I think they're always some of our strongest contenders, and I always love picking apart who we think is going to win in this category specifically. I have people who I would prefer to win, I have people who I would prefer not to win, and I have who I think is going to win. So I'll break that down. Who I personally would love to see win is Cat's Eye. I think we haven't seen a girl group get this level of recognition from the Grammys in a long time, and I love Cat's Eye. I don't think they will win because they don't even have a full album yet out. They only have an EP, which is unfortunate. But the fact that they're getting nominated strictly based off of an EP is outstanding. I mean, Gnarly is I know it's controversial. Personally, I love it. I was listening to it today, but I think it's a great song. Who I think is going to win is Leon Thomas. I mentioned him earlier. He is the only person in this category who is up for one of the other big four names. Because of that, based on Grammy's history, based on how the Recording Academy usually works, I think it's going to go to him. Do I think he's the most deserving of it? Sure. Do I want him necessarily to win over Cat's Eye? No, but I think he deserves it. Who I don't want to win now. Multiple names on this list. I will say something that's very interesting to me is that 2 of these names on this list are ex-TikTok Hype House members. We have Addison Rae and Alex Warren. The fact that these influencers blew up in 2020 for dressing in all white and filming a TikTok of themselves, and now they're both nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys is insane to me. Do I think they've had some hits? Sure. Do I think Addison Rae has some bops? Yes. Do I think this is crazy? Also, yes.
I disagree. I think all of Addison Rae's songs are really bad, not gonna lie.
Diet Pepsi is so
No,
fire.
I think
Not all that.
she sucks at making music. I think Alex Warren has 1, maybe 2 good songs. I think this is honestly kind of embarrassing for the Academy Awards, just kind of seeing where they came from. I don't think anybody's really taking this seriously. Nobody thinks that they're going to win, and that the fact that they're even on there, I think there are people that deserve that spot a lot more than these 2, and I think if they do win, this category will really be a joke.
Now, I will have to say, bouncing off of you here, Alex Warren had the #1 hit sitting on the charts for goodness knows how long with Ordinary. And me personally, I think he's great. I love his music. Personally, one of my favorites. I love Ordinary. Not my favorite. Actually, I love Bloodline from his newest album. Phenomenal. Great work, great lyricism. I did see somebody on the internet say he's just only good at making wedding music. How is he nominated? Do I see him taking home the award? No. Do I think he's a strong contender? Absolutely. You can't tell me you're going to have a song that sits on the top chart and then not get nominated for it. Addison Rae does surprise me as far as TikTok stars go, just because, hello, what? But as far as Alex Warren goes, I think there's something there. I don't think he's going to take it home, nor do I think he deserves to take it home either. Honestly, Leon Thomas, I see that one. I really do. I am with Marissa on this one, though. Cat's Eye just hits different. I really want to see how they do. I would love for them to take it home, personally. None of the names truly stand out to me. Somber kind of surprised me being on this list. It is what it is. But, you know, Cat's Eye is my favorite to win, following Alex Warren.
I do want to say something really quickly about Alex Warren, though. I think it's really interesting that Ordinary charted for so long on such a wide scale, and the fact that it didn't get any nominations, I think it's very telling, because it showcases that just because you have a popular song and just because you can chart doesn't mean you deserve a Grammy. And sure, that may be a hard pill to swallow for some of these artists, but you have to be realistic. If you're writing TikTok music, you don't deserve a Grammy. I don't know.
I would have to agree with that. I do want to say the name that stands out the most to me on this list is Leon Thomas, and I do think that he is very deserving of awards. I wouldn't call it Best New Artist, though. He was in a music group called The Rascals in 2013 and started with Ariana Grande working on her debut album, Yours Truly. And he's been releasing music by himself since 2018. So it raises a good question about what's considered a new artist. I wouldn't consider him a new artist, so I wouldn't want him to win this award. I would personally love to see Olivia Dean win this award. I think her recent album, The Art of Loving, was such a beautiful, introspective piece of art, and I would love to see something with so much meaning. Not even just the album itself, but her as an artist. She's just such a vibrant person. I would love to see her take this home. Moving on to some pop solo performance awards. Nominated for the 2026 Grammys are Daisies by Justin Bieber, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, Disease by Lady Gaga, The Subway by Chappell Roan, and Messy by Lola Young.
Okay, I know who I want to win. I think this performance was stellar. I think this song is so incredible and loud and phenomenal and powerful. For me, it's got to be The Subway. I think Chappell Roan deserves it. I think that song, it had been trending on TikTok before it was ever released so long. Everyone's saying, please release this, please release this. And when she finally did, it exceeded everyone's expectations. You know, sometimes you hear a small clip of an artist's song that they accidentally leak, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And then the rest of the song comes out, and you're like, this is not the same song. Like, this is not it. This song exceeded expectations. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great. I could see Messy taking this category just based on kind of past knowledge of the Grammys. It is a big song. I could definitely see it taking this home. I think it has a lot of pop value. I don't personally want it to win, but again, I'm gonna lay with The Subway.
Honestly, I agree. Well, actually, let me backtrack. Flip, but I agree. I personally think that the Subway, it's great, it's wonderful. I could so see Messy taking it home, just because there's something different about it. Honestly, The Subway, though. I would love to see it win. Chappell Roan won Best New Artist last year. I hope she does really well in the Grammys this year as well. I do particularly wish Manchild was kind of up for this one a little more, but I think it'll be between The Subway and Messy.
I think The Subway is also going to take it home, but I don't think Messy's gonna. I actually hated Messy so much.
I don't like it either.
I don't think it's good at
it.
all, but I think Manchild is my second choice for this category of who's gonna win.
I'd be interested to see if Lola Young's recent decision to step away from live performances impacts this, because I know the Grammys tend to favor nominees or artists that are actively participating in the industry. Or she might not even go to the award show. So
I think the same argument could stand true for Chappell Roan, too.
Yeah.
I think the Recording Academy could hold a grudge against her based on some of the things she said and how she kind of treats her fans in public. So I think that definitely could be a hindrance. I agree with you.
I would argue, if we're disregarding that, Messy or The Subway, but I feel like Manchild is the most standard to the norm of pop that we have in this category, so I could definitely see it taking home the award. but if we're going for uniqueness, I would argue the Subway deserves the award.
Okay, guys.
In other words, the next category that we're discussing is Best Pop Duo and Group Performance. The first nomination is Defying Gravity by Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, Golden by K-Pop Demon Hunters, Gabriella by Cat's Eye, Apata by Rosé and Bruno Mars, and 30 for 30 by Kendrick Lamar featuring SZA.
The hit after hit after hit in this category. I could see every single one winning. Every single one. My personal favorites are Defying Gravity, Gabriella, Apata, and Golden. I know Gabby shares this opinion with me, but there are just so many good ones. And if I was a voter, I don't know if I could choose. I'm a very indecisive person, and I could see so many of these winning.
This category is absolutely stacked. I know how you feel. I don't think Golden should take it. I think it's overplayed. I don't think it's as strong as some of our other options in terms of lyricism, vocals. I just don't think it's as strong of a song. I said it. You seriously think that Golden should beat Defying Gravity?
We're fighting after this.
Now. So, I didn't say that it would beat Defying Gravity. I just personally do not agree with your opinion.
Wrong opinion.
It is a wrong opinion.
But that's what I'm saying is I don't think it should win. I think Defying Gravity is just so much stronger. Although I don't think either of them are going to win.
I agree.
I think Opposite is going to win.
It disheartens me because we've seen Defying Gravity, particularly Ariana and Cynthia, get snubbed in the past. I don't want that to happen again. I think Defying Gravity does deserve it. What do I want Golden to win? Absolutely. We all know how big of a K-pop Demon Hunters fan I am. However, I just don't think it'll be either of them as well. I don't want Apata to win this one. I actually want Gabriella to win, not just because of the title of the song, but originally, and a lot of people actually know this about me, I would not listen to Cat's Eye for the longest time because I thought it was K-pop, and not that there's anything wrong with it, it's personally not my cup of tea.
I put you on, girl.
Yes, Marissa played some songs for me. In particular, she played Gnarly, and at first I was like, I'm never listening to Cat's Eye again. But then I heard Gabriella because some of my other friends were singing it to me, and I fell in love with it. I started listening to all these Cat's Eye songs, and they are such a powerhouse group. It would be legendary to see them take it home. I want to see them standing up there on the stage with their award. I think that is going to be a big contender. I could see them swaying away from the more musical songs as Defying Gravity honestly own this category in everyone else's minds. Duh. I mean, listen to them vocals, ladies. But if I'm going to have to pick one to vote for, it disheartens me that it won't be Golden, but my pick is Gabriella, through and through.
We're going to move away from some of our more general categories and really dive into some specific genres now. So let's talk Best R&B Performance. We have Yukon by Justin Bieber, It Depends by Chris Brown featuring Bryson Tiller, Folded by Kalani, Mutt live from NPR's Tiny Desk by Leon Thomas, and Heart of a Woman by Summer Walker.
I know we already kind of mentioned this, but the fact that Leon Thomas is nominated for so many other categories, I think he's taking this one home. I will say I'm not the most educated on R&B, but I think because he's nominated for so many other categories as well as Best New Artist, he's looking really favorable.
I love that it's the Mutt live from NPR's Tiny Desk that's nominated.
Same.
That's crazy to me. That's the version that went viral on TikTok. That's the raw, uncut version. You don't see many Tiny Desk performances getting nominated for Grammys at all. I am a Tiny Desk aficionado. For those of you who don't know what Tiny Desk concerts are, essentially it's the artist going into this little room and like doing a live performance at a tiny little it's really cool, and they're amazing YouTube videos. You can go check them out on NPR's channel and stuff. Would recommend this performance. I think it's incredible. I 100% think Mutt deserves this win.
I could see him taking home with Mutt. And I think it also helps back his Best New Artist nomination. It's just really that push. You don't see many artists that get nominated for so much and then get snubbed from Best New Artist. Now, I will say, I love Kalani. I love Folded. I could see it being a contender. I don't think it'll take it home. Nothing against her or anything, but Leon Thomas just he's kind of ruling the Grammys this year as a new artist.
I agree. I think it's very unique, like you said, that the live from NPR Tiny Desk version of Mutt was nominated. That's so special to me. I share your love for NPR Tiny Desk. I just adore it. I can also very confidently rule out one option, I think. It Depends by Chris Brown featuring Bryson Tiller. I think that would just be far too controversial for a Grammy win. So I feel like we can all confidently rule that out, and I would love to see Leon Thomas take this award home.
Speaking of ruling some out, I could also rule out Justin Bieber's. I feel like it was just kind of a pity nomination. I've said it before, but I feel like Justin Bieber's washed up.
He had his time. He had his era. I remember when this album came out and everyone was like, did you see that Justin Bieber released an album out of nowhere? And he didn't build it up at all. Like, he just surprise dropped it, and I think he thought everyone was going to be really excited for it. And then I feel like the album kind of flopped and didn't really go places because he hadn't released stuff in so long. People hadn't really heard from him in so long. And it just, I agree. I don't think that this album will be getting that win.
Continuing on with the specific genres, let's get into Best Rap Album nominees. Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, Pusha T, and Malice, Glorious by Glorilla, God Does Like Ugly by J.I.D., GNX by Kendrick Lamar, and Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator.
I think it's Chromacopia. I think it's Chromacopia all the way. Like I've mentioned before in other podcasts, this is not my favorite album or my favorite type of music, but I think it is, like Gracie Ann said earlier, he's an artist. He's lyrical genius, and I think that's why he's going to take this one home.
I'm not a rap person by any say, so I have a hard time commenting on this category specifically. I do agree, though. I think Chromacopia is so strong. Lyrically, artistry, all of the above. I still have this weird tickling in the back of my mind. I really think the Recording Academy I feel like they pick one person every year that just absolutely gets snubbed for no apparent reason when they should have taken home a lot of their categories. And for some reason, I have a really bad feeling that Tyler is going to be that person this year. I think the award's going to go to Kendrick Lamar just based on the year that he's had. I think he's had such a strong year performance-wise, album-wise, fan base-wise. I mean, he had so much promotion, I guess you could say, surrounding his name. So I wouldn't be surprised if he took home the win.
I definitely see Kendrick taking home the win for that exact reason. Also, let's be honest, he won the debacle between him and Drake. It really boosted him up there. He performed at the Super Bowl. It was really made for him, honestly. Who I would love to see pull out a surprise win, actually, is J.I.D. I've heard their songs before, and I love them. They actually have done some collabs with some of my other favorite artists. So I also really do like God Does Like Ugly. Just something about it really it's in my mind. It's like a little itch in my mind. But do I believe it's going to win? No. Would I love for it to win? I want that surprise win. There's got to be a surprise win in these Grammys somewhere, and I really hope it's this category, but I could so see Tyler getting snubbed. We all know that Chromacopia is a pretty good album, contrary to others' beliefs, but Kendrick, come on. It's been his year. I wouldn't be surprised if he took it home.
I feel like the two frontrunners for this award are definitely Chromacopia and GNX. I can see Kendrick winning this award, but I would prefer to see Tyler winning this award. I feel like his album is more sonically diverse. It's just got a little bit of everything for everyone almost, I feel like. Even though it is a rap album, it just feels a little more well-rounded, if that makes sense. But if Tyler wins Album of the Year for Chromacopia, I do not believe that he will take home Best Rap Album.
You guys know I have to find some sort of excuse to talk about movies and televisions, and more importantly, the songs and scores that are in them. I am a ginormous movie score person, so let's just get right into it. Before I get into these two categories, there's a little fact I have to let you guys know. If a movie gets 5 Grammy nominations, you have the most Grammy nominations a movie can get. It's not a ginormous list. It doesn't happen every year. But this year, there are 2 movies that got 5 Grammy nominations. They are Sinners and K-Pop Demon Hunters.
Yay! I'm so excited for K-Pop Demon Hunters. Main reason is because they are getting snubbed at the BAFTAs, and even Netflix agrees with it. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, BAFTA's more for movies. And this year, when they were deciding nominations, K-Pop Demon Hunters did not qualify. Why would that be? It was the #1 streamed movie on Netflix. It still is. It's because in order to qualify for a BAFTA, you have to stream in theaters before it goes digital. And although K-Pop Demon Hunters released in a few theaters in America to make them BAFTA eligible, they didn't release it in Europe. There's the problem. It only released in America. So everyone knows it went viral on Netflix, but it wasn't in theaters first. So Netflix did appeal it, and BAFTA still said no. So I'm so glad that they are sitting so high up in nominations, because I said it once and I'll say it again. That movie changed my life. I think it's so deserving, and the songs are also really good considering the amount of A, work they put into it, and B, hello, if you're going to sing the songs and also write them, oh my gosh.
I mean, I will say we mentioned earlier that Ordinary was on the top charts for such a long time. K-Pop Demon Hunters was as well. In fact, the only thing that took it off was Taylor Swift, and it was only for a couple weeks. It re-released in the theaters Halloween weekend.
And it went back up.
It was right back on the top of that list. So I'm really not surprised. So let's get into the best compilation soundtracks for visual media. This is not just, the background music, quote unquote. These are actual, songs that have lyrics in them. So some of the nominations: A Complete Unknown, which was with Timothée Chalamet and Elle Fanning; the F1 movie, F1 the album; K-Pop Demon Hunters; Sinners; and Wicked. None of these surprised me, except A Complete Unknown, actually. So, I'm a big movie person. For me, the amount of qualms I have about the F1 movie as an F1 fan, I think it might win. I think it's going to be the F1 movie or Sinners. Sinners, I saw it 3 times. I cried. My brother cried. My mom cried. It was just absolutely gorgeous along with the visuals. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, not being as much as a movie people as I am.
Right. I think taking a look at what this category is, I agree with you. I think F1 the album is going to take it. If you break apart what the songs were that were made for this movie, you have artists like Tate McRae making a song for this movie. You have so many strong artists that have gotten nominations in the past from the Grammys all coming together to make this album. I would not be surprised at all if this took home the category. Obviously, I want Wicked to win, but that's just me being biased. I don't think it's going to win. Unfortunately, I don't. I agree with you. I think Complete Unknown being nominated is really interesting to me. I love Elle Fanning and Timothée Chalamet, but that one is on the bottom of my radar in terms of wins.
So, Sinners, that being in this category, I'm not going to lie, it scares me for everybody else. We saw how it sweeped awards this past year. I mean, I don't think there was a single one that everyone was like, Sinners took that, that's so unfair. No, it was a good movie, come on now. I think it's going to be a top contender. I truly think if it doesn't take it home, it's definitely going to be a close call. You know me, I would so kill for K-Pop Demon Hunters to be the one to take it home in this particular category. Do I think it will? Not really. We also have seen Wicked get snubbed already, and I fear that it's going to happen again, because if Grammys are going to snub anybody, it's going to be somebody that puts a lot of effort into this. And we all saw Wicked. I mean, everyone has basically seen Wicked at this point, and the music is so, so good. I loved it. I just don't think it'll be Grammy worthy.
And here's my only other thing about that too. All these Wicked songs, they were already musical. Like, this is from a musical theater show, and that was already an album that was nominated for musical theater, years and years and years ago when it came out in, I think, like 2001. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit worried for Wicked.
And to your point with Wicked too, I think those tracks are really strong vocally, but I think the Grammys really value production over vocals. So that's why I definitely see it not taking home a lot of wins, because if you look at years past, great vocals don't mean you have a Grammy win.
Actually, going off of what you say, I want to redact what I said. Mainly because thinking about it, Sinners won for tons of movies. Doesn't mean that the Grammys, the ones who are voting at least, are going to like the music aspect. You can love the movie all you want and hate the music. So I think actually it'll be very interesting to see who takes it home. Do I think it'll be Sinners? Honestly, yes. But I could see F1 the album also taking it home. So I think my vote will go to F1 the album, just because Sinners, I could really see that just because it's a great movie doesn't mean it has phenomenal music and production.
I think going off of what you said about pre-existing songs and how it's kind of interesting that that's nominated for Wicked, I can see a complete unknown taking this home and being a shocker, because Elle Fanning and Timothée Chalamet performed those songs rather than the songs in the movie being the Bob Dylan versions. I can see this award going to them as a testament to their hard work as far as that goes, because neither of them are musicians, as far as I know at least. So I can see that being a shocker, but if we're going more immediate thought, I would say F1 the album should win.
Moving on to our last category, and one of my favorites for movies again, Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media includes film and television. Now, this is different from the visual compilation because it's not actual songs like Just Keep Watching from the F1 movie, for example. It's the quote-unquote background music. For some people, this isn't as important, but I feel so passionately about this. You cannot have a good movie without an amazing composer and an amazing score. If you think about Jaws or any horror movie, if you turn off the volume, you won't be scared. You won't be scared without the dana, dana, dana. So this for me is very exciting. Let's get right into the nominations. First one, How to Train Your Dragon, which was the live action version, which was of course starring Mason Thames, as we know, Marissa loves. Severance Season 2, Sinners, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Now, I saw The Wild Robot, and I was so happy to see that it got nominated. Me and the friend that I saw it with were an absolute mess. There was literally 2 other people in the theater, a father and a son, and the father was also crying. It was the sweetest thing. And I remember he said to me, the score was just amazing. And he was like a middle-aged dad. So for me, that's why I think that it's going to take it home. I think it's just kind of this random thing that was thrown in there that I was really glad to see in there. And that's why I think it's going to take it home.
I think it's in there for a reason. The Wild Robot makes me cry. Granted, it doesn't take when it comes to a movie, it takes a lot to make me cry, but something about that just really like brought it out. And especially since he gave it recognition for its score. Hello, it was good. I feel like if it's not that, it might be How to Train Your Dragon. Look, guys, I was never really the biggest How to Train Your Dragon fan, but for some odd reason, it would be on in the mornings when I'd be getting ready for school back in like high school and middle school. I don't really know why, and I grew to love the series, so when I heard the soundtrack, even just the background music for it, it was really good. It really matched. I felt like it really matched the vibe.
But here's why I don't think it's going to win. It was the exact same composer as the animated version. It's pretty much, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 new things. It's the exact same music with maybe little changes. And a lot of people in the community actually said that the animated soundtrack was way better than the live action soundtrack. So that's just why I don't think it's going to win in this particular category.
I'm with you in the sense of scores make the movie. Genuinely, I don't think I could watch a movie if it doesn't have a cinematic score. I look at my second favorite movie ever, Challengers. Have to throw it in there. But that movie is so good because of its score.
Exactly.
Because it pulls you into the story, it pulls you into the plot. It tells a story you could close your eyes and know what's happening, and that's what makes a good movie score. In this year's Grammy nominations, I think it's definitely a toss-up. I think it's weird that Wicked's in there because I don't think of any of I guess they have a score technically, but it's a musical, I think of the actual songs. That's why I think it's more likely to do better in the category we talked about previously. I think something that stands out to me in this category is Severance being nominated in general, because it's not like everything else in its category. So I think that might tell a lot, just because it is so different. It might be a tell for the Grammys in this year's category.
Especially because it is a series.
Right.
It's, hello, season 2, what?
Right.
These are just, movies with their scores, and I don't know. I could see that being one of those shockers that nobody expects to take home, but I think one we could rule out just because it really hasn't been brought up by any of us is Sinners. I don't want to say it's totally possible that they're not going to win, but I just can't see it doing as well as other ones. I do agree with Wicked. I'm going to be so honest. I don't think I ever paid attention to the score during that movie. There was so much going on, and the songs were so electric that you don't really think about the background music. It didn't make the movie, if that makes sense.
It's so interesting that you said to disregard Sinners, because just earlier you brought up, like, I'm so scared in the previous category. I'm so scared for everybody else in this category because Sinners is in this.
However, you got to kind of backtrack. Like, that's what I did. I backtracked, and I was like, well, that's for the movie.
Yeah.
We're talking about music here. And I think it's going to be a toss-up on how well they do. Honestly, I feel if they take one home, they'll probably take them all home.
I also agree.
I'm going to disagree with you guys a little bit about Wicked. I do have very strong personal bias. I love Wicked. I love Ariana Grande. That's my girl. Love her down. But I agree with you in the sense that the score is essential to the story of a movie. And I think Wicked is a good example of that, because it does have the musical songs, it has the vocal songs. Those are obviously essential to the story. But I feel like if you were to turn off the sound, once again, in scenes that aren't musical vocal performances, it would feel a lot more bland. And I also think that it's essential to the foreshadowing of the story, because there are some little bits in the beginning where you can hear the little unlimited, like that thing from Defying Gravity. You can hear that in the beginning, which just kind of, it gives you, at least when I rewatch, I'm like, oh, that's a little Easter egg, that's a little foreshadowing. I think it makes a great sense of continuity throughout the movie. So I'd love to see that win, but I don't know. I really feel like it could be any of them.
We're going to do hot takes a little bit different this week, because rather than us giving some of our unpopular opinions, we're going to give our snubs. Who do we think deserve to be nominated for Grammys that either didn't get enough nominations, didn't get any nominations at all, or we just think overall got snubbed this year? I'll start us off saying I think that Gracie Abrams got so snubbed. Do I think she deserves all of the Grammys? No. Do I love her? Yes. Do I think she deserved a Grammy nomination for That's So True? Absolutely. Because not only is that her record of the year, that is, I think, her record of her career. I don't think she will ever surpass a record like that ever again. I think it was so strong, it did numbers, and it was a masterpiece that she created, and I'm really upset that that track specifically got snubbed.
You know who I'm upset didn't get a nomination? Conan Gray. He has been working his butt off, and also his songs are amazing, and the internet will agree with me on this. It is insane to me that Somber got a nomination before Conan Gray, because to me, they are honestly like the same person. And considering all of his songs, and they're really from the heart. I think one of my favorite like interviews with him was him being like, oh, I'm single. I've never been in a relationship, so I'm just a big fat liar. And then all of a sudden he got in a relationship and he got out of one, and the music just grew from there. He has that heart-wrenching, you feel it in your soul kind of music, and I'm really upset that nothing of his got nominated. I think there's at least something of his that deserved a nomination.
I am so upset that Role Model did not get nominated for Best New Artist. I loved his new album, Kansas Anymore. I think he's really just exploded onto the music scene recently. Something that immediately comes to my mind is his performance of Sally When the Wine Runs Out at his tour shows. He will usually bring out like it started as a fan, but it's recently turned into celebrities. And I think that has become such a big cultural thing. He brought out Olivia Rodrigo. Niall Horan was Sally the other day. Oh my gosh. But I just think he deserves better.
For me, we didn't really talk about country at all, but Megan Moroney for me was really snubbed. She had 2 songs that were eligible for country performance, and I just think the songs that did get nominated, some of them weren't as deserving as Megan's songs. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Be sure to check out our website at kykernel.com.
And be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. That's X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify.
Thanks for tuning in to Pop Goes the Kernel. See y'all next week.